The shotgun blast echoed through the crisp autumn air like God's own thunder, splintering the old oak doorframe inches from Keith's head. "You think you're man enough to stand there and lie to my face?" His father's voice roared from the shadows of the living room, the barrel of the heirloom Remington still smoking in his trembling grip. Keith didn't flinch, couldn't, not with Jamie's wide, terrified eyes locked on his from the hallway, the kid's backpack slung over one shoulder like he was already halfway to running. In that frozen heartbeat, Keith knew, one truth for two lives, and his was the one he could afford to shatter. Started small, the way these things always do in a town like Harlan, Ohio, where the high school football field is hallowed ground and Sunday sermons hit harder than a linebacker. Keith Harlan, 22 and fresh out of community college with a welding certificate gathering dust in his glove compartment, had spent his life building walls higher than the grain silos dotting the horizon. He worked the line at the auto plant, same as his old man, Hank, punching clocks and swallowing pride with his black coffee. Home was a squat ranch house on Elm Street, the kind with aluminum siding peeling at the edges and a Virgin Mary statue in the flower bed that his mom, Lorraine, dusted every morning like it was the Ark of the Covenant. Jamie was the baby, 16 and all elbows and dreams, with Keith's same unruly brown curls but eyes that sparkled like he hadn't yet learned the weight of Harlan's gaze. The kid was smart, too smart, skipping grades and quoting poetry in a place where Shakespeare was just some queer Englishman. Whispers started in the locker room after gym class. Jamie caught staring at the quarterback's ass during drills, or passing notes with doodles that looked a little too tender. Bullies circled like crows, led by Tommy, the Tank Riley, whose dad owned the feed store and whose fists carried the town's unspoken creed. Different ain't welcome. Keith heard it first from Seth, over greasy burgers at the diner on Route 23. Seth Whitaker, his best friend since they were knee-high and building forts in the creek bed, was the only one who could make Keith laugh on a shit day. Tall and lanky with sun-bleached hair and a crooked grin that hid a poet's soul, Seth was studying graphic design at the State University an hour north, crashing at Keith's on weekends when the dorms felt like cages. "Your brother's in deep," Seth said that Friday, ketchup smudged on his thumb as he leaned across the Formica table. Tommy cornered him after practice, called him a fag, shoved him into the bleachers. Jamie didn't fight back, just looked like he wanted to vanish. Keith's gut twisted, fork pausing mid-bite. "He tell you that?" Seth shook his head, eyes soft with that unspoken thing they both pretended wasn't there. The way his knee brushed Keith's under the table, lingering a beat too long. "Nah, I overheard. But you know how it goes. Next week's gonna be hell if someone doesn't step in." That night, Keith lay awake in the dark of his childhood bedroom, posters of classic cars curling at the edges, the hum of the plant's night shift vibrating through the walls like a distant heartbeat. Jamie's room was across the hall, door cracked just enough to hear the kids' muffled sobs. Keith thought of their mom, Lorraine, with her bingo nights and her rosary beads, whispering prayers for sons who wouldn't embarrass her at church potlucks. And Dad Hank, with his calloused hands and his stories of Nam, where weakness got you killed. Keith had buried his own secrets deep, the stolen glances at Seth during bonfires, the ache in his chest when Seth dated that cheerleader sophomore year, the dreams that woke him sweating and ashamed. By Sunday dinner, the pot roast cooling on the floral china, it all boiled over. Lorraine had set an extra place for Seth, who showed up with a six-pack and a shy smile, like he belonged. Jamie fidgeted with his napkin, eyes downcast, while Hank carved the meat with ritual precision. The TV droned in the background, some preacher railing about Sodom from the megachurch in Columbus. So, Jamie, Hank said, passing the plate, voice casual as a loaded chamber. Heard some talk from the Riley boy. Said you been actin' funny at school. That true. The table went still. Jamie's fork clattered, face draining white. Keith saw it then, the fear, raw and animal, the kid bracing for the storm. It's not him, Dad, Keith said, the words out before he could choke them back. His voice cracked the silence like ice under boots. It's me. Lorraine's hand flew to her throat, the serving spoon slipping from her fingers. Seth froze mid-sip, beer bottle hovering. Hank's knife paused, eyes narrowing over the steam rising from the potatoes. What the hell you mean, boy? Hank growled, but Keith was already standing, chair scraping back like a confession. I'm gay. That have been since forever. Jamie's he's just my brother. The whispers, the bullshit at school, it's aimed wrong. Let it land on me instead. The room exploded. Lorraine gasped, crossing herself, tears welling as she stammered. Keith, baby, no, God don't make mistakes like that. You can pray it away. We got a cousin in Cincinnati with pamphlets. Shut your mouth. Woman, Hank bellowed, slamming his fist so the table jumped. His face purpled, veins bulging like rivers on a map. You think this is a joke? Standin' there spittin' filth at my table? After everything I done. Raised you to be a man. Jamie whimpered. Keith, don't. But Keith locked eyes with him, willing the kid to see. I've got you. Run if you have to, but I've got you. Seth reached under the table, fingers brushing Keith's thigh, a ghost of comfort, electric and forbidden. Hank shoved back from the table, chair toppling. Get out. Both of you out of my house. I ain't raisin' no perverts under this roof. He stormed to the gun cabinet in the corner, the one relic from Grandpa's hunting days, yanking it open with a rattle that shook Keith's bones. Dad, please. Jamie started, but Lorraine yanked him back, her face a ruin of mascara and denial. Keith stepped forward, shielding the boy. Let him stay. This is on me. The shotgun came up fast, Hank's hands shaking with rage or grief or both. He fired into the wall, buckshot peppering the family portrait above the mantel. Smiling faces from Disney World '09, now riddled like Swiss cheese. Plaster rained down as Keith grabbed Jamie's arm, hauling him toward the door. Seth was there in a blur, snatching coats from the hook, his own voice breaking. Mr. Harlan. Easy. Keith's your son. Man. Blood. Blood don't mean shit when it's poisoned. Hank spat, racking another shell. Lorraine sobbed into her apron, a keening wail that followed them out like a siren's call. They spilled onto the porch, the screen door slamming behind. The neighborhood was hushed, jack-o'-lanterns flickering on stoops, but lights flicked on in windows, Harlan watching Harlan unravel. Keith shoved Jamie toward Seth's beat-up Ford Ranger, the kid's backpack thumping against his spine. Go. Get in the truck. Aunt Clara's in Dayton. She'll take you. But Keith, Jamie's voice cracked, fists balled in his hoodie. I'll handle it. Text me when you're safe. Keith pushed him harder, glancing back at the door where Hank's shadow loomed, gun silhouetted. Seth lingered, keys jangling. Come with us, man. You can't. A second shot boomed, this one wilder, shredding the porch rail and sending Keith diving for cover. Splinters bit his palms as he rolled, heart hammering. Seth yanked him up, half dragging him down the steps. "Fuck this, move." They piled into the truck, Seth gunning the engine as tires squealed on wet leaves. Jamie curled in the back, hyperventilating, while Keith stared out the passenger window at the house shrinking in the rearview, the only home he'd known, now a fortress of rejection. Rain started pattering the windshield, fat drops like accusations. Seth's hand found his knee in the dark, squeezing once, twice anchor in the storm. "Where to?" Seth whispered, voice thick. Keith swallowed the lump in his throat, tasting copper. "Anywhere but here." They drove north through the night, the radio crackling with static and country ballads about lost love. Jamie dozed fitfully against the window, his breathing ragged. Seth white-knuckled the wheel, jaw set like he was chewing on words he couldn't spit out. Keith replayed it all, the blast, the betrayal in his mom's eyes, the way his dad's hands shook not just with anger, but something broken deeper. "You didn't have to do that," Seth said finally, as they hit the county line, Harlan's water tower fading like a bad dream. "Take the fall for him." "Yeah, I did." Keith's voice was rough, scraped raw. "He's a kid. Deserves a shot at whatever this fucked up world's got." Seth glanced over, streetlights carving shadows on his face. "And you? What about your shot?" Keith met his gaze, the air between them thick with years of almosts, of shared beers and late-night confessions, of Seth's laugh warming the cold spots in Keith's chest. "Guess I just burned it down." They crashed at Seth's off-campus apartment in Kenton, a shoebox above a laundromat that smelled like dryer sheets and weed. Jamie bunked on the couch, scrolling TikTok until his eyes drooped, while Keith paced the kitchenette, nursing a warm beer. Seth leaned against the fridge, arms crossed, watching him like he was memorizing the cracks. "Talk to me," Seth said, soft as the rain tapping the fire escape. "What's to say?" Keith laughed, bitter and hollow. "I'm $30 in my wallet, a duffel of clothes, and a family that'd sooner shoot me than hug me. Welcome to the club, right? Gaze of Harlan, population, me and the ghosts." Seth pushed off the fridge, closing the distance. Close. He smelled like rain and Old Spice, the kind Keith had swiped from his gym bag in high school. "You're not alone, asshole. You got me. Always have." Their eyes locked, and there it was, the pull, magnetic and terrifying. Keith's breath hitched as Seth's hand cupped his jaw, thumb tracing the stubble there. "Seth." Shoo." Seth leaned in, lips brushing Keith's in a kiss that started tentative, like testing thin ice, then deepened into something desperate. Keith's hands fisted in Seth's shirt, pulling him closer, tasting salt and need. It was everything he'd imagined in stolen moments, the heat of Seth's body, the way he sighed into Keith's mouth like coming home. They broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed together. "Been wanting that since we were 16, Seth murmured, grin flickering through the fear. Keith's heart stuttered. "Me too. But tonight. Fuck, Seth. I just blew up my life. Then we'll build a new one." Seth's voice was fierce, eyes burning. "You, me, Jamie if he wants. Fuck Harlan." For the first time since the shotgun's roar, Keith felt a spark. Not hope, exactly, but possibility. He kissed Seth again, slower this time, letting the world narrow to the press of lips and the promise in a touch. Dawn crept in gray and unforgiving, painting the blinds in stripes. Jamie woke first, padding to the kitchen in socks, eyes puffy but clearer. Mom texted. Said. Said to tell you she's praying. Dad's at the plant. Won't talk about it. Keith nodded, pouring coffee that tasted like regret. You okay? Squirt. Jamie shrugged, picking at a bagel. Scared shitless. But thanks. For what you did. Family, right? Keith ruffled his hair, the gesture automatic. Seth emerged from the bedroom, hair tousled, wearing Keith's old Harlan high tee like it fit better than his own skin. Morning, troops. Waffles? I got the mix. They ate in companionable silence. The laundromat's rumble a steady underscore. But as plates cleared, Jamie's phone buzzed. A group chat from school. Screenshots flying. Tommy Riley's post. Harlan's got two now. Baby bro and big queer himself. Who's next? Fag family. Keith's stomach dropped. Shit. It's out, Jamie whispered, scrolling. Everyone knows. Seth snatched the phone, deleting the app with a swipe. Let him talk. We're ghosts here anyway, but ghosts have echoes. By noon, Keith's phone lit up. Texts from cousins, praying for you, 'cause demons got hold. Old buddies from the plant, can't cover your shift. Man. Boss says stay away. Even Pastor Ellis, God's grace is for the repentant. Son. Doors open if you turn back. Lorraine called once. Voice a whisper over the line. Keith, baby, come home. We can fix this. Doctors, whatever it takes. Mom, his throat closed. I love you. But I can't pretend. Silence stretched. Then a sob. You're killin' your father. Killin' us all. The line went dead. Keith sank to the floor, back against the cabinets, Seth sliding down beside him. Jamie hovered in the doorway, lost. That afternoon, they drove Jamie to Aunt Clara's, a tidy bungalow in Dayton, all doilies and deviled eggs. Clara, twice divorced and unapologetically herself, hugged the kid like he was salvation. Stay as long as you need, honey. Keith, you too, couch is yours. But Keith shook his head. Gotta figure my own mess first. On the way back, Seth cranked the radio, Springsteen wailing about highways and broken promises. Move in with me, he said at a stoplight, casual as asking for fries. Full time. Ditch the plant. Crash here till you land on your feet. Keith stared at the dashboard, pulse thundering. You sure? This town's got long memories. Your folks. Fuck my folks. Seth's grin was defiant. They cut me off last year when I told them about that bi guy in my lit class. Said it was a phase. This is us. Keith. Real. The light turned green. Keith nodded, a weight lifting. Yeah. Us. They spent the next week in a haze of tentative normal Seth's classes online. Keith job hunting on Craigslist, tire shop in Kenton. Maybe. Nights tangled in sheets that smelled like both of them. Jamie FaceTimed daily, voice brighter. School was hell, but Clara baked pies and quoted Maya Angelou. Miss you, bro. Miss you too. Keep your head down. But Harlan's shadow stretched long. One Tuesday, Seth's phone rang, his mom, Evelyn, voice syrup sweet over speaker. Seth, honey, come for dinner Sunday. Bring that Harlan boy if you must. We need to talk sense into him. Seth's face hardened. Mom. No. Keith's not a project. A pause. Then ice. Your father's sick of the gossip. Says if you side with that lifestyle, you're no son of his. Click. Seth hurled the phone across the room, shattering the screen. Keith pulled him close, murmuring nonsense into his hair. "Hey, we're okay." But the fracture was there, a hairline crack in their fragile piece. The tire shop gig started rough. Grease under nails like war paint. The boss a grizzled vet named Gus who grunted approvals but eyed Keith like he was measuring for a coffin. "Heard about your kin," Gus said on day 3, wiping a rag across his brow as they torqued a lug nut. "Small world. You pull through that shit." Keith shrugged, wrench clanking. "Tryin' dot." Gus nodded, spitting tobacco juice into a bottle. "Good. Life's a busted axle. Fix what you can drive on." It wasn't friendship, but it was something. Enough to pay Seth's half of rent. Buy Jamie sneakers for track. Evenings were sanctuary. Seth sketching at the thrift store desk. Keith sprawled on the futon with takeout lo mein, trading stories like currency. Seth confessed the ache of hiding, of kissing girls to prove a point, of jerking off to thoughts of Keith while scrolling Grindr in secret. "Felt like betrayal every time," he admitted, charcoal smudging his fingers as he drew Keith's profile from memory. Strong jaw, haunted eyes. Keith traced the lines, heart full. "Never betrayed me. You were there. Always." Their lovemaking was a revelation. Slow explorations in the lamplight. Seth's mouth mapping Keith's scars, the appendix one from '08, the burn from a welding spark. Keith learning the curve of Seth's spine, the gasp when teeth grazed his hip. It was tender, fierce, a reclaiming. "Love you," Seth whispered once, post-climax haze, and Keith echoed it back, the words foreign and fitting like a glove. But love's a spotlight, and Harlan's stage was unforgiving. Weekend rolled around, and Jamie's texts turned frantic. "Tommy jumped me after chem. Said Dad told him to teach me straight. Cracked rib. Maybe. Clara's pissed, wants lawyers." Keith's blood ran cold. He called Lorraine. Voicemail after voicemail. "Mom. Pick up. This ends now." Finally, she did Sunday morning, voice muffled like she'd been crying into a pillow. "Keith? Oh, God. It's you. Jamie. Tell me you didn't. It wasn't Hank." He wouldn't, but her pause was damning. "Dad sick Tommy on him? After everything." Silence. Then a whisper. "He's scared, baby. Scared of losing you both to that world. Pastor says it's a test." "Fuck your test, Mom. Tell Dad if Jamie gets hurt again. I swear." The line crackled, Hank's voice booming in the background. "Give me that phone." Then to Keith. "You stay the hell away. Boy. You're the poison here. Tenin my own son against me. You're the one breaking him," Keith shouted, fist slamming the counter. Seth jolted awake in the bedroom, rushing out in boxers. Hank laughed, ugly and wet. "Jamie ain't like you. He'll straighten up. You're done." The call ended with a beep, leaving Keith panting, vision blurred. Seth wrapped arms around him from behind, chin on shoulder. "We'll get him out. Clara's got room." But extraction wasn't simple. Monday, Keith drove south. Seth shotgun, the Ranger eating miles like regret. Dayton's outskirts blurred, strip malls, steeples, until Clara's bungalow, where Jamie waited on the stoop, ice pack to his side, bruise blooming purple under his eye. "Jesus, kid." Keith crushed him in a hug, careful of ribs. Jamie winced but clung back, bony frame shaking. "They're saying stuff at school." Dad came by, yelled at Clara. called her a dyke enabler. She threw a slipper at him. Clara bustled out, apron dusted with flour, all curves and compassion. That man's a damn fool. Jamie's stayin'. End of story. You boys want pie? Apple? Fresh. Over slices in her chintz kitchen. Plans hatched. Jamie transfers to Dayton High. Keith files for guardianship. Clara's lawyer buddy on speed dial. Seth scouts community college for the kid. We'll make it a unit, Seth said, squeezing Keith's hand under the table. Family 2.0. Jamie managed a grin. With pie. Every damn day. Driving back. Euphoria fizzed like cheap champagne. Seth fiddled the radio to an old Killers track. Mr. Brightside. Ironic and anthemic. This is it. Huh? Us against the world. Keith smiled. Wind whipping through the cracked window. Yeah. Finally feels right, but right's a fragile thing. Wednesday night. Seth's shift at the campus coffee shop ran late. Some rush from a frat mixer. Keith waited up, flipping channels, when a knock rattled the door. Not Seth's pattern 3 quick raps. Hesitant. He opened to Tommy Riley, all bulk and bravado, flanked by 2 meatheads from the Harlan team. Rain slicked their Letterman jackets, eyes gleaming with beer and malice. Harlan, Tommy sneered, cracking knuckles. Boss wants a word. Keith's hackles rose, door half shut. Fuck off, Riley. Tell my dad to man up himself. Tommy shoved the door wide, boots tracking mud. Nah. He said make it hurt. For the family honor or whatever. The fight was ugly. Keith's welding arms swinging wild, connecting with a jaw that crunched satisfyingly. But numbers won. Fists rained, boots to ribs, a knee to the gut that folded him wheezing. Fag, Tommy spat, grinding a heel into Keith's hand. Stay gone. They left him crumpled, door ajar, blood pooling on linoleum. Keith dragged to the bathroom, spitting red into the sink, cataloging damage. Split lip, swollen eye, fingers throbbing like accusations. He texted Seth, trouble. Home soon. But Seth didn't reply. Keith bandaged what he could, duct tape on knuckles, ice from the freezer, then waited, clock ticking past midnight. 1 a.m. 2. Worry gnawed, turning to dread. 3. Seth stumbled in, reeking of espresso and something sharper. Guilt? His eyes widened at the sight. Keith, fuck. What happened? Tommy and crew. Dad's orders. Keith's voice was slurred, painkillers kicking in. You? Seth hesitated. That split second too long. Stayed late. Inventory. He knelt, fingers gentle on bruises. Hospital. Nah. Just hold me. They curled on the futon. Seth's heartbeat erratic against Keith's back. But sleep dodged Keith. Questions circling. Why the delay? Why the flinch? Dawn brought clarity, and betrayal's first bitter taste. Seth's phone buzzed on the nightstand. Screen cracked but lit. A text from Evelyn. Did you talk to him? Make him see reason? Your father's waiting. Keith's stomach plummeted. He slipped out, grabbing the phone before Seth stirred. The thread unfolded like a gut punch. Evelyn. Seth. Honey. Pastor Ellis called. Says the Harlan boys dragging you down. Come home. Let us fix this. Seth. Mom. Stop. Keith's good, he's family. Evelyn. Family? That's sin? Tommy said he jumped you last night. Said you begged him to scare Keith straight. Seth. What? No. Evelyn. Don't lie. Boy. We know. End it, or you're cut off for good. No tuition. No car. Nothing. Keith's vision tunneled. Tommy's crew. Jumped Seth? The delay. The scent. Not guilt. Complicity. Seth had met them, whispered warnings or pleas, and it backfired into violence. To fix him. He dropped the phone like it burned, backing away as Seth woke, blinking. Keith? What's? You talked to Tommy. Flat. Disbelieving. Told him to scare me straight. For your folks. Seth bolted up, face ashen. No, God. No. I met him to warn him off Jamie, to say Dad's wrong. But he twisted it, said he'd handle Keith if I didn't play along. I didn't. Bullshit. Keith's laugh cracked. You delayed coming home. Let them pound me while you what? Negotiated. Tears welled in Seth's eyes, real and wretched. I froze. Okay. Called Mom after. Trying to. I don't know. Mediate. I'm sorry. Keith. I love you. But they're my blood. Save it. Keith yanked on jeans, wincing at pulled stitches. Blood don't mean shit when it's poisoned, right? That's what Dad said. Guess it's universal. Keith. Please. Seth grabbed his arm, desperate. Keith shook him off, grabbing his duffel again. You chose them. I choose me. The door slammed on Seth's sobs, rain swallowing Keith's steps down the fire escape. Kenton streets gleamed under sodium lamps, empty as his chest. He walked till his feet blistered, ending at a park bench by the river, dawn gilding the water like fool's gold. Betrayal stung worse than fists. Seth, the one constant, cracked under pressure. Keith pulled out his phone, thumb hovering over Jamie's contact. Hey Squirt. Tough night. You good? Thumbs up emoji. Then yeah. Miss you. Clara says hi. Keith typed back. Tell her thanks. Be there soon. Love ya. Humanity in pixels. He leaned back, eyes closing against the ache. Lost everything, home, family, heart. But not Jamie. Not himself. Gus found him asleep there at opening, truck idling. Rough shift ahead. Harlan. Keith straightened, jaw set. Nah. Just getting started. Work blurred days into routine torque. Align. Repeat. While nights were motels on Gus's couch. The old man snores a lullaby. Seth texted apologies like shrapnel. Please. I fucked up. Let me explain. Deleted. Unread. 2 weeks in. Clara called. Jamie's asking for you. And Lorraine showed up. Crying. Flowers. Wants to talk. Keith's grip tightened on the rag. Tell her no. Not yet, but cracks form. Friday. Post-shift beers at the VFW hall, vets swapping war stories. Gus clapping Keith's back like a brother. A face from Harlan. Buddy Klein. Plant buddy. Nursing a bud. Keith. Man. Heard the shit. Tough break. Yeah. Keith sipped. Wary. Buddy leaned in. Voice low. Your dad's. Changed. Quiet. Lorraine's a ghost. And Tommy? Kid's bragging. But his old man's pulling strings. Says if you come back, repent, all's forgiven. Keith's laugh was sharp. Repent. Right. Buddy shrugged. Just sayin'. Blood's thick. Thick like lies. Keith drained his glass, tossing cash. Tell him I'm good. But good was a lie too. Saturday. Rain lashing Kenton like judgment. Keith caved, drove to Dayton. Windshield wipers slashing tears he wouldn't shed. Clara met him at the door. Pie in hand. Ice kind. He's in the yard. Jamie was raking leaves. Hoodie zipped to chin. The bruise faded to yellow. He dropped the rake, launching into a hug that winded Keith's healing ribs. Bro, hey, tough guy. Keith held on, breathing him in boy sweat and autumn rot. How's the new digs? Sucks less than Harlan. Jamie pulled back, studying him. You look like crap. Gee, thanks. They sat on the porch swing, creaking in rhythm. Jamie spilled. School drama, new friends. A crush on the debate captain. He's got this smile. Keith. Like fireworks. Clara's rules, curfew. Chores. The ache for mom's meatloaf. She called. Said she loves me. But Dad. Radio silence. Keith nodded, throat tight. Same here. You gonna forgive him? Jamie's eyes searched, young and fierce. Not today. Keith ruffled his hair. But maybe when he deserves it. Clara called them in for chili, steam curling like secrets. Over bowls, she slid papers across, guardianship forms, half filled. You're good for it, Keith. Steady job. Heart of gold. He signed, pen shaking. Legal tether to the one pure thing left. Night fell soft, Jamie crashing early. Keith bunked in the guest room. Floral wallpaper. Quilt from Grandma, staring at shadows. His phone buzzed. Seth. Saw you drive through town. Clara's? Please call. I can't lose you. Delete. Sleep came fitful. Dreams of shotguns and splintered doors. Morning brought Lorraine. Tires crunching gravel at dawn. Her station wagon idling like a getaway car. Keith watched from the kitchen window, coffee mug burning his palm. She knocked soft, Clara answering with a glare. Voices murmured. Then Lorraine's plea. Just 5 minutes, please. For my boy. Clara relented, ushering her in. Lorraine looked smaller, hair grayer, eyes sunken in defeat. She clutched a Tupperware of cookies, peace offering crumbling. Keith. Her voice broke on his name. Baby. I don't. He stood rigid, arms crossed. You let Dad pull that trigger. Tears spilled. I was scared. Of losing you both. But God. Seeing Jamie hurt. Is killing me. Your father's broken. Keith. Drinks too much. Snaps at shadows. Says it's his fault. For not seeing it sooner. Keith's resolve cracked. Just a hair. And you? What do you say? She reached. Hand hovering. I say I love you. Gay or not. You're my son. Always. The dam burst. Keith pulled her into a hug, her sobs soaking his shirt, cookies scattering like confetti. Missed you. Mom. Clara watched from the hall, piecing smiles. Jamie peeked, grinning like he'd won the lottery. But reconciliation's a tightrope. Lorraine stayed for breakfast. Chatterlight, Jamie's grades, Clara's garden, until Hank's shadow loomed unspoken. He don't know I'm here, she admitted, rising. But tell him I'm praying, for all of us. Keith walked her out, air crisp with promise. Come back soon. With or without him. She nodded, eyes shining. I will. As her taillights faded, Keith felt lighter. Forgiveness a bomb, not erasure. Back inside, Jamie high-fived him. Knew you'd cave. Shut up. But Keith laughed. real and ringing. The high lingered till Monday, when Seth appeared at the tire shop, leaning on the Ranger's hood, looking wrecked in a flannel that matched Keith's. Grease monkeys whistled. Gus raised a brow. 5 minutes, Keith said, wiping hands on a rag, leading him to the break room vending machine hum. Coffee stale. Seth's words tumbled. I told my folks. Everything. The meeting with Tommy. I warned him. Yeah. But when he flipped, panicked, called Mom for backup, but she fed me lines from the church. I should have fought harder. For us. Keith leaned against lockers, arms crossed. Why didn't you? Fear. Seth's voice cracked. Of ending up like you, alone. Shot at. But losing you? That's worse. I love you, Keith. Not the idea, the mess, the fighter, all of it. Silence stretched. Heavy. Keith searched his face, vulnerability raw. No masks. Prove it. Seth stepped closer, hand on Keith's chest. Move back in. No pressure. No folks. Just us. Building slow. Keith exhaled. The knot loosening. Jamie first. Guardianships in motion. Then. Yeah. Maybe. Seth's grin bloomed. Tentative. They kissed there, quick and claiming, to catcalls from the bay. But Harlan wasn't done. That night, as Keith packed Gus's spare duffel for the weekend at Clara's, his phone rang, unknown number. Keith Harlan, voice official, clipped. Yeah, this is Detective Ruiz, Kenton PD. Got a report, assault on your person. Tommy Riley and Associates. You want to press charges? Keith froze, Seth pausing mid-fold. Heard about it? Word travels. Kid's dad is pressuring us to drop, but it's aggravated. Your call. Revenge flickered, sweet, vicious. But Jamie's face swam up, bruised and brave. Nah. Tell Tommy it's over. No more shadows. Ruiz chuckled. Your funeral, Harlan. But gutsy. Hanging up. Keith met Seth's eyes. Clean slate. Seth nodded, pulling him close. Clean as we make it. Winter clamped down hard that year. Ohio's bite sinking teeth into bones. Snow blanketing Kenton like a shroud. Keith and Seth rebuilt brick by brick. Shared shifts, Seth baristandi mornings. Keith wrenching afternoons. Grocery runs debating ramen versus real meals. Nights with Jamie on speakerphone. His voice tinny but triumphant. Made debate team. Crushed the prelims on queer rights, ironic. Ha! Keith beamed through the static. Proud of you, kid. Seth says hi. Tell him to stop sending those dumb memes. Clara's onto me. Laughter bridged the miles. But tension simmered. Seth's folks went radio silent. No calls, no checks, leaving him hollow-eyed over bills. They're bluffing, he'd say. But doubt crept in. A thief in the night. Keith countered with actions. Extra overtime. A second-hand drafting table for Seth's sketches. Cityscapes now. Not Harlan silos, towers reaching. Hopeful. Romance deepened in the mundane. Lazy Sundays with pancakes charred at edges. Seth's head in Keith's lap while binging The Wire. Whispers of futures. Portland maybe. Or Austin. Art scene. Rainbows everywhere. Sounds like heaven? Keith murmured. Fingers carding blonde strands. But heaven's got gates. Christmas loomed. Clara's tree twinkling with ornaments from thrift bins, popcorn strings, paper angels. Jamie begged Keith to host. Your place now, bro. Make it ours. Seth hesitated, ghosts in his eyes. My mom's been texting. Subtle. Miss you at Massachusetts thinks I'm slumming it. Fuck subtle. Keith cupped his face. Your family. Come or don't, but we're celebrating. Eve's night. They gathered. Clara in reindeer sweater. Jamie in a beanie sporting elf ears. Keith and Seth hauling pizza boxes like offerings. The apartment glowed. String lights looped the crown molding. A sad Charlie Brown fur shedding needles on the carpet. Gifts exchanged. Clara's knitted scarves, itchy but heartfelt. Jamie's mixtape, eclectic, Hosier to Hank Williams. Seth's sketchbook for Keith, portraits of them. Jamie, even a fanciful Clara as a warrior queen. Keith's gift to Seth was small. A silver keychain, engraved us against. For the truck. Reminder. Seth's eyes misted, kissing him fierce amid hoots. Best damn Christmas. But mid-toast. Eggnog spiked with rum. The doorbell buzzed. Insistent. Seth paled. Shit. Ignore it. Too late. Keith opened to Evelyn and Harlan Whitaker, Seth's dad. A bear of a man in camel coat, face carved from granite. Evelyn clutched a poinsettia, smile brittle as ice. Seth. Honey. She cooed, pushing past. We brought you log. Family time. The room iced over. Jamie shrank into the couch. Clara's jaw set. Harlan's eyes raked Keith. Dismissive, then sharpening on the embrace scars fading on knuckles. This the roommate? Seth stood. Voice steel. This is Keith. My partner. Say hi. Evelyn's poinsettia wilted in her grip. Partner? Oh. Seth. Dad. Seth's tone brooked no shit. You heard me. Harlan puffed, chest inflating. Boy, we raised you better. This phase? It's killin' your mother. Clara snorted. Phase? Son, I've seen phases, puberty, bad haircuts. This is love. Evelyn's eyes darted, pleading. We just want you home. Church retreat. Pastor Ellis swears it works wonders. Jamie piped up, small but fierce. Works wonders? Like beating kids straight? Pass. Harlan's face modeled. Watch your mouth. Harlan spawn. Your brother's poison enough. Keith surged forward, but Seth blocked him, eyes locked on his father. Get out. Both of you. I love him. End of. Evelyn sobbed. Theatrical. You'll regret. Doors that way. Clara pointed. Unyielding. They left in a huff, Harlan muttering scriptures. Evelyn's wails echoing down the hall. Silence settled. Heavy. Seth sagged against the wall. Drained. Sorry. Ruined it. Jamie hugged him first. Nah. Epic. Like a movie. Clara poured refills. To choosing sides wisely, Keith pulled Seth close, whispering, Proud of you. The tree lights danced on. Night mending. New Year's brought pivot. Guardianship approved. Jamie officially Keith's, papers crisp. Judge's gavel final. You're stuck with me, Keith told him over burgers at Clara's. Seth sketching napkins. Good. Jamie grinned, ketchup-mouthed. Means I get the truck when you're old. School resumed, rhythms settling. But spring thawed grudges too. March. A letter arrived, Hank Harlan's scrawl, postmarked Harlan. Son, words fail a man like me. What I did gun. Words. Tommy wrong. Dead wrong. Lorraine's leavin' if I don't fix it. Jamie's yours now. Legal. Proud. In a way. But come home. Talk. Church or no? Your blood. Dad. Keith stared, paper trembling. Seth read over shoulder. Quiet. Go. Not alone. Keith folded it careful. With you. Easter Sunday. They drove south. Ranger packed with pies from Clara. Jamie shotgun. Seth's hand steady on Keith's thigh. Harlan bloomed reluctant. Dogwoods pink against mud. Fields greening. The ranch house loomed. Unchanged. Mary statue pristine. Door unscarred. Repaired in silence. Hank waited on the porch. Flannel crisp. Ice shadowed. Older. Somehow lines etched deeper. Lorraine hovered behind. Apron twisted. Boys. Hank's voice gravel. No shotgun in sight. Dad. Keith stepped forward. Jamie flanking. Seth hung back. Sentinel. Awkward shuffle inside. Living room stiff. Family portrait patched but crooked. Lorraine fussed coffee. Eyes darting. Hank cleared throat. Heard about the papers. Good on you. Jamie. Jamie nodded. Mute. Hank's gaze on Keith. That night. Lost my head. Nom shit. They say flashbacks. But no excuse. Keith swallowed. Hurt bad. Dad. Jamie too. Hank winced. Know it. Been seein' the VA doc. Pills. Talk. Lorraine's pushin' me to church. Not for repentin' you, but for me. Lorraine chimed. We're tryin', baby. Love you. Both ways. Thawed. Tentative. Seth joined. Handshakes awkward, Harlan sizing him up. Grudging nod. Heard you're an artist. Whitaker blood, stubborn stock. Seth grinned. Runs in the family. Dinner unfolded, ham glazed. Potatoes lumpy. Talk circling weather. Jamie's debates. Hank asked about the tire shop. Listened real. Steady work. Manly. Keith met his eyes. Yeah. My life. Post-meal. Porch swing creaked. Hank and Keith. Beers cracked. The gun. Packed it away. For good. Good. Keith sipped. Miss this. Us. Hank's hand clapped shoulder. Heavy. Miss you too. Son. Driving north. Jamie asleep. Seth murmured. That closure. Step one. Keith smiled. Stars pricking sky. But steps slip. May. Seth's thesis loomed, graphic novel pitch. Queer cowboys in the Dust Bowl. Raw and revolutionary. Prof loves it, he crowed. Pages strewn. But Evelyn called. Voice honeyed venom. Your father's cut the tuition. Says no funding for blasphemy. Seth deflated. Pages crumpling. Fuck. Loans? I can't. Keith pulled him close. We hustle. My raise covers. Side gigs, your art. My overtime. But strain showed. Seth distant. Snapping over dishes. Keith swallowing worry. Hands calloused raw. Nights. Lovemaking turned frantic. Less connection. More escape. June heatwave broke with news. Tommy Riley arrested. DUI. Crashing into a diner. Breath stinking of Jack. His dad pulled strings. But whispers turned. Karma for the Harlan beatdown. Keith got the call from Buddy. Kids lawyered up. Might drag you in witness. Seth overheard. Face storming. Press it now. End him. No. Keith firm. Cycle stops. But Seth's eyes darkened. Easy for you, hero complex. Some of us fight dirty. Words hung. Poison. That night. Seth vanished. Truck gone till dawn, reeking of bars when he stumbled in. Needed air. Keith's heart sank. From me. Seth collapsed on the futon, defeated. From failing you. Can't even keep us afloat. You're enough. Keith knelt, but Seth turned away. Summer solstice. Jamie visited, sleepover, bonfire in the park. Esmore's sticky. You guys okay? He asked, perceptive. Yeah. Just heat. But heat builds tempests. July 4th. Fireworks cracking like gunshots. Seth got the email. Scholarship denied. Folks' final nail. He snapped, bottle hurled. Glass shattering. I'm done. Back to Harlan. Tail between legs. Keith blocked the door. Running? That's us. Seth laughed. Manic. Us? You're the martyr. Saving everyone. Screwing yourself. I can't breathe here. Words clawed deep. Keith reeled. Betrayal's echo. Then go. But don't come crawling. Seth stormed out. Taillights blazing. Keith sank to floor. Sobs racking. Alone again. Echoes of that first night. Jamie found him at Clara's. Pie cooling. Seth. Gone. Keith hollow. Clara hugged fierce. He'll circle back. Fools always do. But August burned slow. Keith threw into work. Gym. Jamie's pickup games. Seth's text sporadic. Sorry. Staying with Buddy. Miss you. Deleted. Then. Climax cracked open. Late September. Harvest moon fat. Keith's phone rang. Hospital. Mr. Harlan, your father's had a stroke. Critical. Ranger flew south. Heart in throat. Dayton to Harlan. Clara and Jamie piling in. Seth's number flashing unanswered. Hospital sterile. Beeps accusatory. Lorraine paced. Rosary clicking. Came on sudden. Argin with the foreman about you, I think. Pushed too hard. Keith gripped her hand. He'll pull through. I see you dim. Hank tubed and pale, monitor's green line erratic. Keith sat vigil. Jamie dozing on vinyl chairs. Whispers. Dad, you stubborn ass. Fight. Dawn. Eyes fluttered. Hank's. Locking on Keith. Croak. Son. Yeah. Tears hot. Here. Guilt crashed. Years lost to pride. Both sides. Love you, Dad. Hank squeezed weak. Knew. Always. Relief flooded. Fragile. Doctors stabilized. Prognosis guarded. But hope. Outside. Jamie hugged tight. Family sticks. Clara nodded. Even cracked ones. Keith texted Seth. Dad stroke. At hospital. Need you. Reply instant. On way. He arrived disheveled, dusty jeans, eyes red. Keith. Later. Keith pulled him in. Now. Family. They sat together. Seth's hand in his. Lorraine's glance softening. Hank rallied slow. Rehab. Therapy. But words bridged. Apologies traded like sacraments. Shoulda seen you sooner, Hank rasped. Seth at bedside. Boys got grit. Seth grinned. Watery. Runs in bad company. October leaves turned. Healing tentative. Seth moved back. Tent. No truck. Couch first. Proving, he said. Eyes earnest. Every day. Keith forgave. Cautious. Trust rebuilt in smalls. Shared chores. Honest fights. Nights reaffirming love with touches gentle. But betrayal's scar lingered. One crisp evening. Walking the creek bed, Fort Sight. Childhood haunt, Seth confessed. That night I left? Called Tommy. Not to fight for a truce. Offered cash from my savings. Begged him to back off Jamie forever. Keith stopped. Wind whispering. And, kid laughed. Said he'd take it, but whispered to his crew anyway. My fault, the delay, the beating. Rage flickered, then ebbed. You tried. Messy, but tried. Seth exhaled. Still love me? Keith pulled him close. Kiss ceiling. Fool for you. Winter returned softer. Thanksgiving at Clara's. Full table. Harlan's. Whitaker's. Evelyn thawing over turkey. Harlan gruff but present. Jamie's debate trophy centerpiece. Hank, cane-bound, toasted, to Sakan's chances. And sons who save us. Glasses clinked, tears hidden in smiles. Spring unfurled like redemption. Ohio's thaw, a metaphor Keith couldn't ignore. Mud sucking at boots, but green pushing stubborn through cracks. Hank's rehab progressed. Physical therapy twice weekly. Lorraine chauffeuring with radio hymns turned low. He's talking more, she confided over coffee at the diner, her smile tentative. About you, Seth. Even asked for that graphic novel pitch, says cowboys need grit. Keith chuckled, stirring sugar. High praise. Jamie thrived at Dayton High, debate star, track letterman, a quiet boyfriend named Eli, art geek. Braces glinting when he laughed. Weekend visits brimmed. Arcade runs. Bonfires where stories spun wild. Jamie's poetry slams. Seth's latest panels. Queer heroes now. Capes fluttering in Harlan winds. Keith and Seth's rhythm steadied. Apartment upgraded to a one-bed in Kenton's east side. Bay windows framing river sunsets. Seth landed freelance gigs. Logos for local breweries, zine covers for the college lit mag, while Keith eyed Foreman at the shop, Gus grooming him with gruff nods. Got the head for it, Harlan. Don't fuck it. Intimacy healed too, less frenzy, more reverence. Lazy mornings with coffee breath kisses, Seth tracing Keith's tattoos, a fresh one. Us against, inked on ribcage. Seth's design. You're my anchor, Seth murmured once. Post-love, head pillowed on chest. And you're the sail. Keith's fingers wandered, eliciting shivers. But anchors drag. May. Tommy Riley's trial loomed. DUI plea bargain crumbling under scrutiny. Old assaults unearthed like buried mines. Ruiz called, kids naming names. Yours included the beating. Wants a deal. Testify. He walks lighter. Keith's gut twisted. Testify to what? Self-defense. Pattern of aggression. Says you provoked. Gay panic bullshit. Ruiz's disgust clear. Your call. But it could bury him. Seth overheard. Face storming. Do it. He deserves rot. Jamie, visiting, nodded fierce. For me. Payback. Hank. Over phone. Son. Don't stoop. But if you must. Make it count. Clara counseled. Justice. Not vengeance. Heart first. Keith wrestled nights. Pros. Closure. Safety. Cons. Dredging dirt. Harlan's eyes on trial stands. Seth pushed. He's poison. End it. Tension frayed. Arguments sharp. Seth accusing Keith of softness. Keith snapping back on scars Seth inflicted. You don't get to play victim after your truce blew up. Seth recoiled. I'm trying. Damn it. Every day. One heated eve. Words escalated, Seth hurling. Maybe Dad was right. I'm weak. Can't hack this life. Keith shoving him against wall. Not hard, but enough. Regret instant. Hands dropping. Shit. Sorry. Seth slid down. Tears hot. Me too. We're breaking. No. Keith knelt. Foreheads touching. Bending. Stronger for it. They called truce therapy. Seth's idea. Campus counselor. Sliding scale. Sessions unearthed. Seth's fear of abandonment. Folks' legacy. Keith's martyr complex. Jamie's shield becomes self-flagellation. We're human, the doc said. Glasses glinting. Messy. That's the romance. Trial week scorched. July sun baking the courthouse. Harlan's finest in pews like Judgment Day. Keith took the stand. Voice steady. Tommy jumped me. Unprovoked. After his dad pressured my father over family matters. No queer baiting. Just facts, assault, pattern, pain. Tommy squirmed. Lawyer flailing. Verdict. Guilty. 18 months suspended to 5. Community service. As cuffs clicked, Tommy's glare burned. But Keith met it even. Walking out to Seth's arm around shoulders. Jamie's whoop echoing halls. Free. Jamie breathed. Eli squeezing his hand. Outside, reporters swarmed, local rag sniffing scandal. Mr. Harlan. Any comment on the family feud? Keith paused. Seth's grip grounding. Just this love wins. Messy, but it does. Headlines blared next day. Harlan heir testifies. Justice over grudge. Hank clipped it. Framing beside the portrait. Patched, but whole. Summer peaked in Idle. County Fair. Ferris will kisses under stars. Cotton candy sticking fingers. Seth's novel pitched. Agent bite. Queer West small press. Book tour. Baby, he crowed. Dancing kitchen. Keith's promotion landed. Foreman. Raise fat. Gus clapped back. Told ya. Now don't slack. But idols tempt fates. August. Evelyn's Olive Branch. Dinner invite. Neutral ground. Dayton Bistro. Clara mediating. One shot, Seth said. Tie crooked. For peace. Bistro hummed. Linen tables. Wine lists. Evelyn elegant in pearls. Harlan subdued over steak. Seth, she started. Voice tremulous. We've reflected. Pastor Ellis, new sermons. Inclusive. We want you back. Both of you. Seth's fork paused. Back or tolerated? Harlan cleared throat. Son, I was wrong. Lost a brother to AIDS 80s, never grieved right. Feared losing you same. Vulnerability cracked ice. Evelyn teared. Grandkids. Someday. Your way. Keith squeezed Seth's knee under table. We're good. But if it's real, welcome. Toasts tentative, but warm. Drive home. Seth exhaled. Think it's true. Time tells. Keith kissed knuckles. But you chose us first. Fall whispered change. Leaves gold. Air crisp. Jamie's homecoming dance loomed. Nerves jangling. Eli's asking me official, he confessed over pizza. What if Harlan hears? Keith grinned. Then they hear. Proud. Dance night. Keith and Seth chaperoned, Jim twinkling. Kids awkward in tuxes. Jamie twirled Eli under disco ball. Laughter bubbling. Seth sketched candids. Keith's arm loose around waist. Public. Unapologetic. But midway. Shadow fell. Tommy Riley. Parole early. Lurking bleachers, eyes on Jamie. Venom fresh. Keith tensed. But Seth whispered. Wait. Tommy approached. hesitant, jeans faded, swagger schooled. Harlan, nod to Keith, then Jamie. Heard about the trial. Fair fight. Sorry. For the kid stuff. Jamie blinked. Eli hovering. Yeah. Tommy shrugged. Court-mandated AA. Made me think. No excuses. Glanced Seth. Your truce? Appreciate it. Didn't take the cash. Burned it. Seth nodded. Tight. Good. Tommy extended hand. Clumsy, but real. Shakes traded. He melted into crowd. World's ending, Jamie quipped, but hugged Keith fierce. Thanks for the shield. Always. October storm brewed. Winds howling. Power flickering. Hank's checkup clear. But cough lingered. Doc's orders. Rest. Lorraine fretted. He's pushin'. Says for you boys, legacy. Keith visited. Helping yard work, raking defiant. Ease up, Dad. Live. Hank leaned on rake. Wheezing laugh. Boss in me? Tables turn. Inside. Over beers. Deeper. Nam took pieces. Made me hard. Didn't want that for you. Keith nodded. You gave grit instead. Hank's eyes misted. Love you, son. Gay and all. Words landed soft. Healing. November grade early. Thanksgiving redux. Tables groaning. Whitaker's thawed. Harlan's mending. Clara's pie's crown. Toasts flowed. To strokes survived. Trials won. Love's chosen. Post-feast. Seth pulled Keith aside. River walk. Frost nipping. Got something. From pocket. Ring. Simple band. Steel. Etched us against. Not proposal. Promise. Whatever comes. Keith's breath caught. Slipping it on. Forever. Kiss sealed. Wind witness. But December darkened. Hank's cough worsened. X-ray shadows. Doc grim. Stage 2. Caught early. Treatable. Family rallied. Chemo schedules. Meal trains. Keith shuttled. Seth designed morale posters. Superheroes battling beasts. Jamie read poetry bedside. Lorraine prayed. Evelyn visited. Awkward, but present. Hank fought fierce. Balding head defiant. Jokes cracking. Beaten cancer? Easier than raisin you too. But weakness crept, bedbound. Breaths labored. Christmas Eve. Hospice glow soft. Family circled. Hank beckoned Keith close. Proud. Tell Jamie. Be brave. You tell him. Keith choked. Hank's grip weakened. Eyes closing. Love. All. Monitor flatline dawn. Silent as snow. Lorraine wailed. Jamie buried in Eli's shoulder. Seth held Keith as world blurred. Funeral stark, Harlan Methodist. Pews packed. Plant buddies. Riley kin, Tommy somber. Head bowed. Pastor Ellis eulogized inclusive. Hank Harlan, fighter. Father. Friend. Loved wide. Graveside. Dirt clods thudding. Keith spoke. Dad taught grit. And late grace. Miss you. Reception blurred. Casseroles. Condolences. Night. Alone. Keith shattered, sobs racking. Seth rocking. He knew. Loved us. Yeah. Keith clung. But gone. Grief's tide pulled. Days mechanical. Nights haunted. Jamie leaned on Eli. Clara baked through tears. Whitakers stepped up. Harlan driving Lorraine to grief group. January thawed slow. Hanks will read House to Lorraine. Shop shares to Keith. Steady hands. Son. Legacy weighty. Seth's book deal solidified, advance slim, but tour booked, Ohio first, then coasts. Come? He asked. I's hopeful. Keith nodded. Ride shotgun. February. Valentine's. Quiet. Diner booth. Burgers heart-shaped. Seth sketched proposals on napkins. Eloped in Vegas? Courthouse intimate? Keith laughed. Soon. When breath's back. Spring equinox. Cherry blossoms dusted. Keith proposed proper. Creek bed fort rebuilt. Ring offered under stars. Marry me, Seth Whitaker. Mess and all, Seth teared. Yes, tumbling. Hell yes. Wedding small June. Clara's backyard. Jamie best man. Eli ring bearer. Beaming. Vows simple. Through betrayals. Storms. Us against. Kiss sealed. Cheers erupted. Lorraine dabbing eyes. Evelyn clapping polite. Tommy even showing nod from afar. Honeymoon. Tent camping Appalachians. Stars carpet. Lovemaking earthbound. Futures whispered. Adopt someday? Jamie uncle. Eli co-conspirator. Back. Life bloomed. Keith Foreman full. Seth adjunct prof. Queer lit syllabus. Jamie college bound. Scholarship gleaming. 1 year on. Hank's marker moss touched. Family picnics. Lorraine dating. Widow from bingo. Whitaker's grandparents in waiting. Betrayal's faded scars, lessons etched. Keith traced Seth's ring. Murmuring. Worth every loss. Seth smiled. Kiss soft. Gained the world. Summer's end hummed with harvest. Corn whispering secrets. Harlan's fairgrounds alive with midway lights and funnel cake grease. Keith and Seth wandered aisles hand in sling. Jamie trailing with Eli. Cotton candy bearding his chin. Bet I can nail that ring toss, Jamie boasted. But Eli's eye roll said otherwise. Loser buys corn dogs, Seth teased. Arm loose around Keith's waist. Public ease hard won. They nailed it, Jamie crowing victory, though rings clinked cheap. Laughter echoed. Free. Fall deepened colors. Routines rooting. Seth's book launched. Dust Bowl darlings. Covers queer icons in sepia. Sales modest but reviews glowing. A tender gut punch to Heartland hearts. Tour wrapped Midwest. Keith tagging weekends. Motel nights debating sequels over whiskey. Home. Keith's shop thrived. Gus retiring. Handing reins. Don't paint it pink. Harlan. Keith laughed. But hired diverse. Trans mechanic from Akron. Lesbian detailer with tattoos rivaling his. Jamie thrived at state dorm life. Poli-sci major. Eli visiting weekends. Missed the pies. He griped over Thanksgiving Zoom. But eyes sparkled. Lorraine dated steady. Widower Tom. Gentle with stories of fly fishing. He don't mind, she confided. Cheeks pink. Says love's love. Evelyn softened gradual. Baby blankets knitted for hypothetical nieces. Church potlucks inviting the boys. Harlan grumbled, but showed. Seth's exhibit opening. Beer in hand. Arts. Growin' on me. Winter solstice. Anniversary first. Cabin rented Poconos. Snow blanketing pines. Fireplace crackled. Seth's sketchpad open. Portraits evolving. Keith silver-foxed. Jamie grad-capped. Ghosts of Hank smiling faint. Future U.S., Seth murmured. Pencil shading. Keith traced lines. Beautiful. Lovefest slow bodies known. Souls synced. Post. Tangled sheets. Kids? Someday? Seth nodded. Foster first. Give back. Spring rains nourished. April showers wedding invites. Jamie and Eli. Courthouse simple. Backyard reception Clara's. Keith walked Jamie. Tuck starched. Curls tamed. Proud. Squirt. Jamie teared. Love you, bro. Vows echoed theirs. Through storms, together. Reception danced wild. Clara's conga line. Lorraine two-stepping with Tom. Whitaker's toasting awkward. Tommy cornered Keith by grill. Congrats to the kid. Clean now, construction up north. Stayed straight. Path. Not preference. Keith clapped shoulder. Good man. Summer solstice. Foster classes started, home study. Interviews probing. Ready? Social worker asked. Eyeing rings. Born for it, Seth said. Keith echoing. Fall's cusp. Match, boy. 10 timid Theo. Brown curls like Jamie's. Eyes wary from bounces. Likes trucks, case file said. First meet. Park bench. Theo clutching dinosaur book. Keith knelt. Hey, buddy. I'm Keith, build 'em. Not just play. Theo peeked. Grin cracking. Real ones. Swear. Weeks blurred bonding bedtime stories. Seth's drawings animating dinos. Holidays tentative. Theo's first tree. Ornaments heavy with hope. Jamie's wedding gift. Custom frame. Family portrait. All eras blended. Hank's ghost wink. Lorraine's smile. Whitaker's nodding. Winter gripped gentle. Theo's school play. Dino King. Roaring fierce. Seth's second book contract. Keith's shop expansion. But grief's undertow pulled anniversary Hank's passing. Graveside. Snow dusting. Miss you, Dad. Keith whispered. Theo tossing pebble, innocent anchor. Lorraine linked arms. He's watchin'. Grinning. Spring bloomed Theo's adoption. Courtroom tears. Judge's gavel joy. Family official. Keith announced barbecue. Theo beaming cake smeared. Summer's heat wave. Road trip. Route 66 echoes. Dust Bowl trails from Seth's book. Theo shotgun. Jamie/Eli backseat. Stories spinning. Hank's nom yarns sanitized. Betrayal's footnotes. Fairgrounds again. Midway lights. Rings tossed. Theo nailed it. Crowing, corn dogs on me. Laughter full circle. Fall deepened. Theo's school play redux. Teen Theo. Drama club. Jamie's law internship. Queer advocacy. Seth's TEDx talk, Heartland love. Standing room. Keith's shop unionized. Fair wages. Pride flag subtle in window. Winter's eve. Solstice fire. Family circled. Lorraine/Tom. Evelyn/Harlan. Grandpa duties. Spoiling Theo. Clara's pies steaming. Toasts layered. To lost, Hank's shot. Betrayal's sting. To found, seconds chances. Gritty grace. Theo raised mug. Cocoa to us against. Cheers thundered. Spring equinox. Third ring. Commitment ceremony. Backyard vows renewed. Theo ring bearer. Jamie officiant. By heart's grit. Kiss sealed. Petals raining. Summer solstice. Book tour national Keith/Theodore tagging. Adventures etching. Grand Canyon sunsets. Theo's awe bigger than Dino's. Fall's harvest. Fair redux. Theo's ring toss dynasty. Family booth. Seth's books. Keith's custom keychains. Us against engraved. Laughter. Lights. Legacy. Winter's hush. Year turning. Cabin Poconos. Snow eternal. Sketchpad open. Future ghosts. Theo grown. Perhaps partner. Jamie's firm. Eli's art. Lorraine's grandbabies. Whitaker's mellowed. Keith traced, our story. Seth smiled. Kiss eternal. Wrote it together. And in Harlan's quiet, under stars unyielding, they lived dramatic, emotional, romantic, human. He came out to protect. Lost all, gained world. Love's arc, bending toward light.